mentioned Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan by a very compliant Congress, and part of why they get such a compliant Congress is the gerrymandering and the suppression that's going on. So, knowing your Wisconsin background, I'm wondering if you can talk about, for example, the Wisconsin Supreme Court case on redistricting, and maybe some of the other institutional
factors. Great
factors.
Question. You've laid a lot on the table.
That overlay that.
I will do it very quickly.
Yeah.
Only because there's a wonderful group of people behind you in line there. And so all I will say is I'm not going to go into the Wisconsin thing. I'll just say, look it up. We follow what's happening in Wisconsin on the issue of gerrymandering. We could see the United States Supreme Court finally address one of the core democracy issues in this country, which is the fact that most of our congressional races are non-competitive. I will only focus on one thing, a person that I write about a lot in the book, and that is Chris Kobach. He is the guy that the president has empowered to essentially be giving advice and counsel on voting rights, election issues, and a host of matters. All these things that you're raising. And the fact of the matter is that I've covered this Kobach character for years, going back to when he was working with the American Legislative Exchange Council and other groups on a host of what can only be, in my view, called voter suppression initiatives. And he is the worst possible person to have in charge of this stuff. And we ought to, I genuinely say, that we ought to be on top of what he's doing every day, and we ought to be ready to resist it, because the answer to the question of could Donald Trump get reelected is not merely about his policies, and it is not merely about economic issues that are always in play. It is also about the quality of our democracy. How healthy is our democracy? And I fear that the people he has put in charge of overseeing and giving advice about how we should organize our elections are some of the worst players and some of the most disrespectful players as regards democracy in this country. And so that's why I write about Kobach, but it's also why I think we have to pay a lot of attention to it. Thank you for